In the year 2024, on the 2nd of July, the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was commemorated, an event that marked a pivotal moment in the struggle for racial equality in the United States. Yet, the historical narrative often overlooks the integral role that Black women played within the civil rights movement. Despite facing exclusion from national leadership roles, these women were instrumental as activists, scholars, and organizers, forming the very backbone of the movement. They established essential connections between grassroots and national organizations, often taking on strategic roles that would lay the groundwork for significant legislative and societal changes. One such figure was Fannie Lou Hamer, who at the age of 44 attempted to register to vote in Indianola, Mississippi, in 1962. She and 17 other civil rights activists were subjected to a literacy test, a common tactic employed to disenfranchise African American voters. After completing the test, the group encountered police harassment, and later, Hamer faced threats of eviction and violence by white supremacists. Despite this, she remained steadfast in her commitment to the civil rights cause. Hamer's resilience was further tested when she was brutally beaten in a Winona jailhouse, leaving her with lasting injuries. Yet, she continued her activism by co-founding the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and delivering a compelling speech at the Democratic National Convention in 1964. This speech drew national attention to the disenfranchisement and harsh living conditions of Black Mississippians and contributed to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Another remarkable woman, Mamie Till Mobley, faced an unimaginable tragedy when her 14-year-old son, Emmett Till, was brutally murdered in Mississippi after being falsely accused of offending a white woman. In September of 1955, Till Mobley made the courageous decision to hold an open casket funeral, exposing the brutal reality of racism to the world. The heart-wrenching images of her son's disfigured body, published in Black magazines, became a catalyst for African Americans nationwide to join the civil rights movement with renewed vigor. Her relentless pursuit to share her son's story played a vital role in mobilizing the movement, ultimately influencing the passing of the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act over 6 decades later. Diane Nash, a Chicago native, was a young student at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, when she co-founded the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Nash quickly emerged as a leading figure in the civil rights movement. At 22, she led the Nashville Sit-ins, which resulted in the desegregation of public facilities in Nashville. Nash's leadership was crucial again, as she stepped up to ensure the continuation of the Freedom Rides following violence in Alabama. Although she was nominated to speak at the 1963 March on Washington, she was denied the opportunity to speak because of her gender. Nevertheless, Nash's unwavering commitment to justice persisted, and she played a pivotal role in the Selma voting rights movement, leading to the historic marches that were instrumental in the enactment of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These women, and countless others like them, forged a legacy of courage, resilience, and strategic acumen. They confronted not only the systemic injustices of their time, but also the additional barriers imposed by gender discrimination within the movement itself. Their stories are a testament to the collective power of unwavering dedication to the cause of justice and equality. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the subsequent Voting Rights Act of 1965 are enduring monuments to their indomitable spirit and the victories they achieved, not only for themselves but for future generations in the ongoing quest for civil rights. Mamie Till Mobley's life took a tragic and irreversible turn in the summer of 1955 when her son, Emmett Till, was brutally murdered in Mississippi. The violent nature of his death and the subsequent acquittal of his killers drew sharp national attention to the virulent racism that pervaded the American South. Yet, it was Till Mobley's courageous response to this atrocity that would leave an indelible mark on the civil rights movement. Refusing to let her son's death be in vain, Till Mobley made the harrowing decision to hold an open casket funeral in Chicago. This choice laid bare the grotesque reality of racial violence for all to see. The images of Emmett's mutilated body which were widely circulated in African American publications, served as a stark call to action. This visceral exposure to the cruelty that her son endured became a rallying cry, stirring the conscience of the nation and spurring many to join the struggle for civil rights. Till Mobley's determination to share her son's story transcended personal grief and became a symbol of defiance against the oppressive forces of racism. She traveled across the country, speaking about the horrors of segregation and the urgent need for change. Her testimony highlighted the perilous conditions that African Americans faced and underscored the necessity of federal intervention in the southern states. Her indefatigable efforts to keep Emmett's memory alive and to demand justice were not in vain. The outrage that her son's death provoked played a crucial role in the mobilization of the civil rights movement. It galvanized activists and ordinary citizens alike, ultimately contributing to the passage of landmark civil rights legislation. And nearly 7 decades later, her son's legacy was honored with the signing of the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, which designates lynching as a federal hate crime, a long overdue recognition of the brutal history of racial violence in the United States. Mamie Till Mobley's defiant grief and relentless activism remind us that the personal stories of those who suffered during the civil rights era are powerful testimonies to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of injustice. Her actions, born of a mother's unbearable loss, forever changed the course of American history and continue to inspire those who fight for a more just and equitable society. Diane Nash's journey from a Chicago upbringing to becoming a formidable leader in the civil rights movement is a narrative of strategic brilliance and unwavering determination. Her story speaks to the power of nonviolent direct action and the impact of steadfast dedication to the principles of justice and equality. Amidst the charged atmosphere of the early 1960s, Nash emerged as a pivotal figure in the battle against segregation in the American South. As a student at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, she became deeply involved in the civil rights movement. Her leadership was instrumental during the Nashville Sit-ins, a series of nonviolent protests that challenged racial segregation at the city's lunch counters. The campaign, marked by disciplined resistance and a commitment to nonviolence, led to the desegregation of public facilities in Nashville, setting a precedent for other cities to follow. Beyond Nashville, Nash's influence extended to the broader efforts of the civil rights movement. In 1961, when the Freedom Rides, a campaign initiated to challenge the segregation of interstate buses, were met with violence in Alabama, it was Nash who boldly called upon her fellow students to continue the rides. She took on the mantle of leadership, coordinating logistics, liaising with the media, and securing support from government officials and civil rights leaders. Her unwavering commitment ensured that the Freedom Rides would continue, serving as a testament to the power of collective action. Despite her significant contributions, Nash faced the gender biases of her time. At the 1963 March on Washington, where she was nominated to speak, she was ultimately not allowed to address the crowd due to her gender. However, this setback did not deter her. Nash continued to be an essential organizer within the movement, particularly in the seminal events in Selma, Alabama. Nash's strategic acumen shone brightly as she, alongside her then-husband James Bevel, was a key architect of the Selma voting rights campaign. The nonviolent protests and marches from Selma to Montgomery that she helped organize captured the nation's attention and exposed the violent resistance to African American suffrage. The brutal response from law enforcement, broadcast for the world to see, was a catalyst for change, intensifying the call for federal legislation to protect voting rights. The Selma campaign's direct influence on the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is undeniable. This landmark legislation represented a monumental victory for the civil rights movement and for Nash's enduring legacy of leadership. Her contributions to the movement are a testament to the efficacy of nonviolent protest and strategic planning in the fight for civil rights. Diane Nash's story is a powerful reminder of the impact that a single, committed individual can have on bending the arc of the moral universe toward justice.